Welcome back to the 14th episode of Ria's streaming vlog. It has been 3 months since my very first video came out, and don't worry, it's not going to be another milestone video. I must admit that I didn't really much want to do this video, or rather, I guess I should really say, I didn't really have a lot of motivation to script up another video this week, to then go around to plan it out, record it, edit it, give it all those frills, bells, and whistles to make it look good as sin. I realized that there's just so many more things that I'd rather do. I'd rather watch a stream, interact in chat, play some Magic the Gathering Arena, maybe even watch a YouTube video or even do a bonus stream. I'd rather lie down and take a nap or even eat a banana. Now, not about that last one. Those who know me at all know that I utterly detest bananas. I'm more of a fish taco gal myself. The thing is, there are a lot of things that are easier than working on a video, and a lot of things that are a lot more immediate rewards as well. And I remember about 3 months ago that I want to start a YouTube vlog channel to try new things, expand my horizons a little bit. I still remember myself all starry-eyed, ready to hit the ground running, and I figured it won't be so bad. This will be easy. Spoilers, it wasn't, and it still isn't. Nevertheless, I think there is one thing that separates the people who might succeed from the people that definitely won't. The people who won't succeed rely on the fickle mistress that is motivation. When motivation falters, the people with the discipline to push forward despite the lack of motivation are those who are most likely to succeed. I mentioned this briefly in my 20 lessons that I wish I knew at age 20 video, but there's a lot of really amazing journeys that have been totally worth it in the long run, and totally demotivating at the same time. It sucks to wake up in the morning with a tiny chest and no booty after close to 2 years on hormones, and meanwhile there's people that have been on estrogen for 6 months and they've already got C cups. I tell the joke sometimes that despite the fact that I started hormones when I was 28, I had larger breasts at 25 than at 30. And not gonna lie, I was definitely hoping for a little bit more in the chest. But I guess I wasn't quite as gifted as some ladies end up being. At the same time, though, it's pretty easy to actually take AHRT. Yes, I know it is very difficult for some people to get access to hormones or to be able to take them safely, and I do not want to discount those struggles and challenges in the slightest. But once you actually have access to hormones, actually taking 4 pills a day, pretty easy. 2 each morning, 2 each evening, just... For other tasks, though, it can be quite the challenge to maintain the motivation to continue onward. These videos might not be the most interesting, most exciting, most entertaining videos out there, but I still spend 10 to 15 hours each week on this video, partially because there's a lot that goes into the video: scripting, recording, editing. Sometimes I have to re-record, and then there's those other post-production improvements that I have to work on to try to make it sound good and flow well, which is quite a challenge for me. I have autism. I talked about that in a previous video, and sometimes my thoughts are only semi-coherent and I've got to try to salvage something together. Over the past month, I have spent dozens of hours working on my speedruns of Earthbound, struggling to try to improve that record, struggling to try to get that sub 4 I've been going after for such a long time. Some days I finish a run, but I lose too much time. Other days, I just never get a run out of Onet. And some days, I lose to some heart-wrenching bullcrap in the final half hour and lose a run that was otherwise on pretty solid pace. I have had any number of high highs and really low lows throughout my experiences as a speedrunner. But I will say, especially as my times have gotten better over the years, it gets harder and harder to get those PBs, and the time between them gets a lot longer as it dries out. My last PB of Earthbound was set nearly 2 years ago, and that's not for lack of trying. Anybody who runs the game or has run the game will tell you, there are many places where the game can and will heck you over at every possible opportunity if you get even the slightest bit unlucky. In fact, it's so bad I have a Twitch emote called RN Gygas just to really hammer home how I really feel about that game's brutality and the RNG. In pretty much every game I speedrun, Legaia, Star Ocean 2, Earthbound, Quest 64, go on and on and on, I've faced my share of pretty heartbreaking moments. Days where I spend hours just trying to get out of the first town. Days where mid-game RNG is so brutal that I'm never going to possibly get a PB. And days where I almost get to the end on PB pace and then I get dunked on. Twice I have lost runs of Star Ocean 2, not to RNG, not to my own failings, but to the game crashing. Thanks, Tri-Ace. You really know how to nail it to me. The fact is, it can get extremely demotivating to have all these things happen, and it weighs on me after a while. And just the same, it can get demotivated to stream to a dead chat on Twitch, or not gain any new followers from multiple streams in a row, or sometimes even lose them. That seems to be happening for me more regularly these days, just as it's demotivating to see these YouTube videos flop despite all the effort and time and energy that I put into them. And when I came out as trans, I was losing multiple followers every single stream, a particular sort of mental anguish right at a very vulnerable time in my life. It sucks to pour so much of myself into this and just not see the numbers that I want to see, especially as I am a data nerd. I talked about that briefly last time. Nonetheless, I persist onward. As former President JFK once said, we choose to go to the moon and do these other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard, because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skill. And so it goes. The greatest things in life are not easy. They are not obtained through following the simple and straightforward path, one that's always downhill, devoid of obstacles. And when it comes to motivation, sometimes that falters and wavers in the heat of the trials that we face along the way. When it does, the easy path, the one that leads to giving up, moving on, trying something else, it's tempting. And only our grit and our discipline to push forward and onward towards greater goal can spur us onward. I think there is no shortage of tasks, goals, for which this mindset rings true, not just in content creation, but in life in general. But so too, is it important for us to take breaks, to recharge, and to recommit to our goals. It is important to remain disciplined and focused towards our long-term objective, but that doesn't mean necessarily going so hard for so long that you end up burning out as I did a few years back. I talk about the importance of taking breaks here, and until next time, stay hydrated, my friends.